Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to our new series, Let's Talk. And today we're gonna talk.
About women's football.
Yeah, we're gonna address the elephant in the room. So sit back tight and enjoy the show.
And just like always, we would like to start with the beginnings. Start with the start, actually.
Like, how convenient.
Yeah, and it all started actually where whole football started, and even we can go even more back in history, because even in old China's like drawings we will find out that girls were playing something,
Kicking something with their feet. Like,
Exactly.
Let's not call it football, but it's like something similar.
yeah, football of that times. Let's call it. So it's not like something that was like developed very like early, but it's a part of the football history. So going back to 19th century, when like modern football was actually written, like all the rules, etc., etc., also women started playing that game.
Yeah, pretty much simultaneously with men.
Exactly, and it wasn't like this wasn't gathering any crowd, because it was even gathering more crowds many times
Yeah,
than the actual men's football.
Because it was actually like a spectacle, like, okay, women are playing this, and people were
Curious.
Let's say, curious. Like, weirdly enough, we say like the past, like some things were backwards, and then you can come to a conclusion that people like 130 years ago were more open to women playing football,
Yeah.
and not get butthurt about it. So as they do now.
Not put any like ideology or like fighting with like
Yeah, because let's get it out in the way. Like, we have like two sides. One of the sides is like the woke side, who says like we have to have equal pay regardless, and the
Yeah.
other side is like go back to the kitchen. And let me say, like, both sides are wrong. Like, the reason why women's football was equally popular, and sometimes even more in like the early stages, is because men's football wasn't on a high level.
also but
Because like both of them were pretty similar, because they were not good. Let's be realistic.
no one was good. It was
Exactly.
just starting.
And then women's football stopped developing because of social and political things, and it's behind.
And
men's
also
football
money.
because of that, exactly. So let's put it in the middle. I'm not gonna say that women have to have the same pay as male footballers, because at the end of the day we have to remember one thing: football is unfortunately now business, and it's all about revenue. When you get a product that people will buy, it will become more popular, and then women's wages will come on par with that. But it needs to take a bit time, because women's football lost so much development because of politics.
And also money.
Yeah, and just like let it grow organically. Don't force it like, okay, it has to be this, it has to be that. It will grow, it's getting more and more popularity, people are watching it more and more. Last World Cup, more than 1 billion people tuned in to see women play.
It was a big success.
Exactly. So just, as the song would say, let it go. So okay, we have gone on a bit of a tangent there, but let's go to the meat and potatoes of the video. So kick it off, Patrick.
Yeah, so going back to the first years of women's football and modern football as we know it, the first women's club was British Ladies Club.
Simple and
Yeah.
on to the point. Yeah.
Yeah, it was from 19th century and that was a pretty nice new thing in a football map. And yeah, both girls and boys were using same like stadiums, and many times like we said, they were gathering more crowd than men, and we are talking about like not like 100 men versus like 50. We are talking about like
Thousands
of thousands, like 20,000.
I found somewhere data that like the most spectated match had more than 50,000 people.
Yeah,
And that's impressive, even for today's standards. Let's be
exactly.
honest.
Like if you want to today have a Champions League final on your stadium, it has to be like 60,000 by minimum. So let's say that was almost a Champions League final of today.
Exactly. Like, okay, we have to take into consideration that there wasn't like regulations with standings, with there was like standing seats, like more people could pack into a stadium.
Yeah.
But still, you had so many people that wanted to be there. And
Exactly. And soon after, First World War started, and nations, especially Britain, required more people in hard manufacturing.
in the industry.
That industry. And turns out all of these like fabrics also created like clubs, and I think, as per Wikipedia, saying the most popular one was the Care Football Club.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I was saying in the previous segment about like growing things organically. When you think about it, first male football clubs started in Sheffield.
Yeah,
So they started from again these factories and all this like industrial things.
yeah.
And the same way like women's football got popular is well by same. It gets
Same.
about like people getting together over a sport.
Yeah, it goes like this with everything. Like someone is actually creating something, and it's just like grows if it's actually getting like popular because like people are liking it, and also try their like talents maybe with it, something like that.
Because okay, it looks fun. Okay, I'm gonna try.
Yeah, like with all this industrial revolution, people suddenly had more free time, and sport was like a natural thing to fill this free time, and football was with it.
Like we talked in some of the previous videos, football is the most convenient sport because all you need is a ball and some space. And that's
Exactly.
It. Like,
Yeah,
even
you-
bricks can be like the goalposts, and that's it. Like,
anything like stones, anything, or like sticks.
yeah, like literally whatever you can find, you can play around.
Exactly.
Man, I remember as a kid we even put like the coats. Okay, so this is like a post, and then that's it. Like,
Yeah, and like the upper bar was like the highest point that the goalkeeper can like.
yeah, that's it. Literally,
That's everywhere. Like no matter the country where you come from, it's like
we come from like 1,000 kilometers apart, but the thing is the same. Right?
yeah. If the like small goalkeeper couldn't like hang it, even when it went
then-
up,
then it's
it
like
was like
over.
over. No questions asked.
No questions asked.
on
like,
the
it's
pitch.
very arbitrary. But
Yeah.
yeah, let's get back to the point. So
Exactly.
yeah, like women's football at that point was at its peak because
Golden
first
era.
of all, a lot of men couldn't play football because, well, surprise,
War.
surprise, there was a World War One.
Exactly.
And women's football was popular because, first of all, it was a substitute, okay, for people who were football fans. And second of all, it was made in a good manner. So it was all about charity, like getting fundraisers for like soldiers
Exactly.
and for like the country and all of these things.
Civilians,
And,
yeah.
and I read the data that football club that you mentioned, if you could take into consider inflation, gathered like dozens of millions.
In today's money.
Yeah, in today's money. So that's impressive. But then some conservative politicians decided that some women kicking a football is not moral.
Yeah, it's unsuitable of like
Yeah.
femininity, like
Yeah, they were like in
Words
lot of
like that.
countries. There were like a different reasons for why they want to ban women from playing football. Like it's for their own health because this is like rough. It's because of femininity. It's because of all of these things. It's like very patronizing and very like backward thinking.
exactly like the stupidest thing you can ever
Yeah.
think of.
They even like in Britain connected it with flapper culture. So like these like women who were like smoking, drinking alcohol,
Yeah.
like in their mind dressing inappropriately. And for that time, inappropriate was if you were like a skirt up to your knees, like very like this like oh this is near nudity. Like,
Yeah.
oh my brother in Allah, he would be surprised with today's standards.
Go go like forward to like 100 years and you
so
will
like
see.
that's like when you consider this level of like insanity that was there, and literally women's football came to a halt for more than 50 years, to be honest.
Almost 50 years, because FA, Football Association of England, banned it, like you said.
A lot of other football associations did the same thing.
Yeah, like French, Italy, like
Yeah, Denmark, Spain, like when Franco's regime came, like they also banned it.
Yeah.
The Soviet Union also banned it at that
Yeah.
point. And like we always like to think today with like, oh, the Western European, it's like so civilized. Man, like one of the first nations to lift the ban on women playing football was Nigeria. Because they instituted the ban when they got colonized by the British, and they said, okay, as we are banning it in the homeland, it's banned also here. And as soon as they got rid of the colonizers, okay, like women can kick football, like who gives a crap?
they were more chilled about yeah,
exactly, like
yeah, kudos to Nigeria,
yeah.
for that. Yeah, and just to kind of finish our like first years of women's football, we also need to mention about international women's football. First match was, of course, England versus Scotland, because why not? And soon after, when the First World War started and was still like going on, there was actually in 1917 first very big official club tournament for girls, for women, and most of them, if not every single player, was kinda connected with the ammunition like industry, working there, because like we said, England required all hands on the deck with creating like weapons, ammunition, just to keep the war going the way they wish to. But going back to football, there was this like Munitionets Cup, if I'm saying that correctly.
yeah, actually.
Yeah, because we are still like saying some old English words, so I might not get very good at it. And the final match was won 5-0, but it gathered also above 20,000 spectators on the stadium, and there was also like a second edition when the First World War ended in 1918, and the final score was actually just 1-0. but still,
it was tactical.
it was more tactical. Yeah, girls
It was
learned,
like
learned
Mourinho football.
maybe yeah, like women's players maybe learned more with this year how to play, how to like out tactic like their rivals, something like that. Maybe
I'm joking, because like even male football was like really bad still, like at that point, with not good tactics.
baby
and,
steps.
yeah, I mean like Ferenc Puskás with his like stomach.
You are tired. You are here. What have you done? Useless. Me with my pregnancy, I'm better than you.
It was like
Top
still
scorer.
exactly
All the
so,
time.
and that's not even 20s. That's like 40 years later, and it's still like that.
It was still, yeah, and we saw some like crazy hosts like Chile hosting World Cup. Like today, they also could, but with someone.
Yeah,
Maybe with
because now
Argentina.
that's the popular thing now, to gather out like lots of nations, and okay,
Yeah.
now you're hosting.
Yeah, and you actually require lots of like cities for like the stadiums, except Qatar, who had like 5 cities maybe, and
Yeah, but
most of the World Cup was in the Doha.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like refreshing, like small country, and it's actually possible to do it in like,
Yeah, and we know
days,
why.
times. And as we are talking about money, everything, like we said, ended because of money, and also lots of women players, coaches, like clubs, stuff were saying that actually FA was kind of jealous about what their like gathering, their charity, like you said, was many times like bigger than men's football.
Yeah.
And they also fought and said many times to that times media that it's also about money. So yeah, we are at the almost beginnings of 20th century, and like money was spinning the football back then.
I mean, like it is now.
Just like it is now. Yeah, exactly. So that was the end of first like golden era for almost half of a century. And
Yeah, you have like darkness for until the 70s when
Until the
FIFA made them remove the bans.
yeah, and also connected to like more modern times feminism movement.
But before women's football could start running, they had to walk. And the first steps were made in the 70s. So in 71 and then in 72, because they had a World Cup, but not sanctioned by FIFA, but by different organization.
It was called Federation of Female.
Independent Female Football.
Too long, but it was exactly this one. And first unofficial, let's call it, female World Cup in football was in Italy, and it was strongly supported by a wine manufacturer company.
We all know.
We all know Martini and Rossi, because that's how it was called back then. And yeah, and the first, we might say, unofficial or maybe like first historical world champion in women's football was Denmark. And the very next one was being held in Mexico, just to make it more maybe exotic,
Spicy.
spicy, and it was also won by Denmark girls.
So yeah, Scandinavia was ruling the show at that point. But unfortunately, it took 20 years of convincing everyone and getting the support for first official World Cup that was hosted in 1991 in China.
Yeah, exactly. But one of the things that we can say good about the UEFA is that it's in the 70s back again, everything was actually going out of the like dark hole, black hole, we can say, for a women's football, because actually UEFA was calling every like national federation of football to start developing and like keeping
women's leagues, women's
leagues,
national
clubs.
teams, yeah, like all of the normal stuff that men had at that time.
Yeah, like we had until 70s, we had lots of history actually happened in men's football, like lots of World Cups, all of these like dramas, and actually there was nothing about women.
Yeah, and that brings me back to the point that I had previously when I said about like difference in quality now, because women's football, because of that ban, is now like almost a century behind male football.
Yeah,
Because it's starting to get out of the hole in the 70s.
and the
It was
first
even better in the 90s, but truly it took us to go to 21st century for like real development to start.
exactly. So women lost almost 100 years
Yeah.
of actually like development. Like we can't imagine how their football might look like today if not this FA ban and all of these like other bans
yeah.
of women's football. So yeah, like you said, first World Cup was in 1901 in China, and United States was actually first like official World Cup
They
winner,
were the big dogs in the 90s.
and they still are. And suddenly, also a couple years before, like going back not so long ago, from today, Japan started to play really well, and they were also world champions. But rewinding the tape to the
Yeah.
90s.
Now, when you mentioned Japan and like that era, I'm having a flashbacks on Sava's icon card in FIFA.
Yeah.
Man,
Because every time when I'm saying you that, hey, I watched some like game and there was like this and that girl and she's very nice, and you are always like, yeah, I have her in FIFA. Actually.
Yeah, like, and I'll be 100% honest. Like, you watch women's football, I don't. Like, I really don't watch it. Like, my knowledge comes from FIFA, like cards.
Yeah.
All I can say is that Sava's 99 card was the best card in the game. I love that
Which
card.
FIFA? This one? Or
No,
like
the last one. Like,
Oh.
at the end of the last one, her like 99 card was the craziest like ever. I love that card.
Oh, yeah. Like,
But yeah, but so
why not?
that's where my knowledge there lies, and I'm here to yap about social stuff and less about football.
Yeah, I saw like couple of Champions League finals and also couple of World Cups. One European Cup, and yeah, that's it. But first time I was just like curious, how does it look like actually, and just to check like myself, because I'm always like interested in sports of like any kinds. I'm like from my college I'm a sport journalist also,
So you watch weird stuff as baseball.
I do. Yeah, I'm a Toronto's Blue Jays fan for years now, and I have their shirt bought right there in their like official fan shop. But yeah, so going back again. Oh yeah, we back.
Yep.
Back again. Yeah, we are in the 90s. United States girls won with Norway, but Norway was the second one 4 years later in 95. So
Yeah. And also, women's football had to wait for Atlanta Olympics in '96 to actually be included on the list of sports, because in '92 in Barcelona there
Only
wasn't
men
a
were
place
playing.
for them. Yeah, only men were playing. Yeah, and it's even more unfortunate because okay, we have some steps in the '90s, but for example, take top scorer of '91 World Cup, Michelle Akers. So at this point, women were able to play college football, as in the US they call it soccer, but okay, whatever, college soccer, women's soccer,
yeah,
God help them. So you were able to play there for 4 years, but after you kind of got pigeonholed, like you don't have a professional league or even like a semi-professional league in the US, and only in Europe there were some like professional leagues, or in Brazil. So these were your choices. So a lot of them, for example, like one of the most iconic women's footballer ever, like in US, Mia Hamm, she finished like graduated from college, and then literally didn't play until, well, today it's called NWSL, and it was called differently in 2001, I think it was formed. Like, she didn't play like club football, like she just played with the national team, who were all the time on some tours and like some training camps, how to actually like keep up with the fitness. And of course, like, national team has 20-30 players. So if you weren't one of the top 20 players in that time, well, that's your career done, basically. Like, you had no opportunities. And we are in the 90s. Man.
yeah, it's not like 80 or like 19th century, it's 1990.
Because in 19th century it was better, you could play.
Yeah, so it was still like 3 steps behind of
Yeah.
of what it was.
Because like literally, like I already said, like we like to think of the past as backward, but like just think of the like openness of people about this, and like how it is now. Even at this point, okay, it's like year 2024, and there were people throwing hissy fits about FIFA and adding women into the game or stuff like that. Man, if you can
Yeah.
get tilted by a woman kicking some round object on the grass,
Like, get some help.
Stop it. Get some help.
And also, what's important about '96 Olympics is that women didn't had any age restrictions. So,
yeah, because men
any-
have him.
Yeah, and for women, any could take part and be like called to the national team and play.
Yeah, because in Olympics, in women's football is a big deal, and in men's football, it very quickly became like a second-tier competition that
Yeah,
you just don't care much about, and it's like mostly played by under 23s.
yeah. Still, it's
It's fun to win a medal, but
It doesn't really
It's behind
that much count.
Euros, it's behind World Cup, it's behind even winning like a Europa League. Like if you ask someone, would you rather win like
Even Conference League.
yeah, because it's just like not the big dog of the Olympics.
So actually we can say that modern women's football started in this century.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah, so we had like 19th century, a bit of beginnings of 20th century, and then like jump to 21st. That's
Yeah.
a big hole in the ground actually to jump over and to get over it, and
Yeah.
to also expect today's women's football to be as good as men.
Yeah, because it lost so many years of development, and
Yeah.
it can't be like that. And that's why, like I already said, I don't agree with, like, I don't know, Megan Rapinoe is like one of the biggest spokespersons, yeah, for that, like for equal pay of like U.S. men's and U.S. women's national team. Again, like I say, unfortunately, sport is a product. And
Yeah,
this
every.
product is not on the same level. So of course it's not going to bring in enough revenue. Give it time. It will in 20, 40 years. I don't know.
Even today,
Yeah.
we see the growing actually the
Exactly, of the
spectator-
popularity of the people, actually, like young girls that want to play football.
Yeah.
You have a rise of it. Just like I said, let it go organically and don't bitch about like pay differences, because that will come with its time, because it's product. And people are making a huge deal of it. Why don't you watch women's football? Women don't watch women's football, man.
Exactly.
And that's like the same thing, like in my mind it's like someone asking me, why don't you watch Chinese league?
Exactly.
Why would
Same.
I I have like Premier League, I have La Liga, I have like Serie A, I have like a lot of these things, and there's not enough time and space to follow all of these things, man. So yeah, I mean, it's not the women's fault, because like I said, like they had almost a century, were held back in the development. But just like give it time, and it will become a productive like league that will bring in more and more revenue. And yeah, like I mentioned Mia Hamm before, so she was able to play professional football just at the end of her career, because she played in the 91 World Cup and she was a teenager back then. And okay, how is she giving back to the community? She formed a team in Los Angeles, and now I'm gonna mention something Bosnian.
No.
Yeah, because the goalkeeper of that team is the daughter of the first winter bobsledder, from Bosnia.
Ah, oh,
Yeah.
that's a fun story.
And, she's a goalkeeper for Mia Hamm's team. But yeah, so that's how it goes. Like the league is created pretty recently. In Britain, it was created like a bit more than 10 years ago. Like in England, they have a top tier football.
Yeah.
And for all of the people who are missing Barclays Men's League, well, now Barclays is the sponsor of the Women's League there.
Yeah, they found their niche once again, and
They're back in the football, baby.
money is money. And you actually need money and the marketing. And I must say that last World Cup, Women's World Cup, in Australia and New Zealand had a very nice marketing. Like I really like the colors, like the style of, like the package of this product, like you said, because yeah, football, like, or like any other sport, like volleyball, basketball, anything,
Everything
tennis,
is a product.
is today a product that television is mostly like television is buying. And I'm always like attracted to like how it is like packaged, like the colors, like the fonts, and that last one caught me because of that also, and that it had like more teams taking part, and also like hosts like Australia, New Zealand, like all this like Oceania part of our world, of our planet. That
They're
was-
actually better in women's football than they are in men's football.
it was so suitable to like women's football.
Yeah,
Like
because, like,
when I was like watching, just like seeing like the ball, how it was like designed.
let me remind you that you're talking about women's football in your gesturing.
Sorry. I mean, because I'm like visualizing this as a like a.
I don't know what you're visualizing, man.
Okay, never mind. But yeah, like all of these like sea, like you know these like sea creatures, like this chill vibe connected with like football. It was like this, like clicked, and actually of thinking also about the time zones, I was working from home, and when I had some like free time after like doing like first like tasks at my job, actually watching some sports. And in that example it was this like women's World Cup. It was
I remember
something
because
nice.
like you were messaging me about that, like, oh, are you watching? And I was like, no.
I saw every match, like from first to the last one. It was my first actual women's tournament that I watched from like A to Z.
Hey, okay, I'll watch the next World Cup if I pack Putelas again.
And you should, because she was great. And
I mean, she's a Ballon d'Or winner.
yeah, because she is actually world champion. But besides that, like whole Australians, like all of this like crowd, like whole Australia, like every media was talking about it, was like checking how are they feeling, how are they doing, what are they saying, like like the atmosphere was great. It wasn't like a situation that something is happening, but if you ask someone like on the street, did you know that, for example, this one
Yeah.
with that, and they'll be like,
But
but
yeah.
what are you talking about? No, like whole Australia was actually living with this tournament. They were proud of their girls. Like they
Yeah, I mean, Sam Kerr is also one of the top women's footballers.
still, yeah, and she kinda disappointed at that tournament, but at the very, very like crucial moment, she was there on the pitch and she really helped. But in like overall, she was just like Lewandowski, like lots of expectations on the like international tournaments for men's football of ours, but always like there was something like, okay, he was good, he scored something, but
that's because you expect miracles from him, and the rest of the team is average at best, man. And the same
Yeah.
thing with Sam Kerr. Like,
and something similar, or if not the same, was happening also there in Australian team, and those like penalty shootouts against, I think it was against Japan. I will need to check it later. That was drama. Like it all ended with like goalkeepers shooting. Also making this tournament wider for more teams made all of these like great ones like Brazilian states and also Japanese football players being actually more like on the shade of others, and especially that the hype around the host nations, the New Zealand's and the Australians, was very high. Like I said, everyone was talking about it in both countries, and it was a public discussion topic actually of like everyone, even for the people that weren't that much interested in football by general before.
yeah, because of a good marketing.
Exactly. So guys, that will be basically it for today's episode. Long story of short history of actually women's football, which is still like developing, and now it's starting getting some like
Some traction.
some traction, and I'm still like very curious from my like kind of journalistic still like way of watching sports, and also like how is it changing, and with all the also like media side of it. Leave a like, share, and subscribe. Maybe tell us what do you think. Have you watched any like women's football game before this episode, or maybe if you will
Watch
it right now, maybe you will become some kind of a supporter of women's football, because I think it's worth a try always.
And if you're pissed about women playing football, you're a virgin.